From left, Mike Colter as Luke Cage, Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones, and Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock aka Daredevil in Marvel's The Defenders. Jessica Milieu. Netflix and Marvel have collaborated on 4 comics-based television series over the last few years, and while they share a setting New York and a few overlapping characters, they're pretty distinct. You wouldn't confuse Jessica Jones with Iron Fist or Daredevil with Luke Cage. Now there's a 5th show, Marvel's The Defenders, available Friday on Netflix, that brings the 4 heroes together to form a superpowered crime-fighting team. Marvel has done this before, combining characters to assemble the blockbuster Avengers movies. But the challenge for the showrunners Douglas Petrie and Marco Ramirez, who were in charge of Season 2 of Daredevil, is a little different. Coming hot on the heels of the individual shows, each of which has already devoted 13 to 26 hours to its story, they're not just juggling personalities and plot points. They're also trying to mesh 4 different tones, styles, rhythms, color palettes, music philosophies and acting styles. Through 4 of the 8 episodes, they do an impressive job on that score. Without feeling like a paint-by-numbers kid, Defenders maintains the essence of the misanthropic Private Eye, Jones the haunted blind vigilante, Daredevil the bulletproof Harlem Mensch, Cage and the hippy-dippy martial artist, Iron Fist. It's even deftly faithful to the original show's looks, going blue and steely when the action centers on Jones, white and misty for Iron Fist. But the professionalism, and have no doubt, Defenders is very well put together, comes with some costs. One is the standard problem for this kind of assemblage: the need to give everyone equal screen time, and the exposition required to make sense of their getting together, means less of the things we come to comic book stories for. There's a lot of getting to know you and Harris Fatwa doing talk in the early episodes, and not a lot of action or emotion. And the corollary to that, it takes a while for things to get going. A long while. Defenders is an egregious offender in this regard. Minor spoiler alert: the team doesn't truly come together until halfway through the season, which doesn't leave as much time as you'd like for villain bashing and heart-tugging sacrifice. One final problem, at least for real fans: the producers have chosen the shadowy ninja syndicate called The Hand as the enemy that unites the Defenders. Because of the histories of the various Marvel comics from which the show is drawn, this results in the story flowing primarily through Iron Fist, the least interesting and least popular of the Netflix Marvel characters. Finn Jones in Marvel's The Defenders. Jessica Milieu. Netflix. That story picks up shortly after the timeframes of each of the antecedent series, with Jones, Kristen Ritter and Daredevil Charlie Cox licking their wounds after deadly battles, Cage Mike Colter newly released from prison, and Iron Fist Finn Jones traveling the world seeking revenge. Seemingly unconnected events, a new case for Jones, a Harlem crime wave, an earthquake centered in Daredevil's Hell's Kitchen neighborhood, are all connected to The Hand, drawing the 4 together. None of it seems very urgent, though. It would help if the series had a better villain. The nebulous, largely faceless ninja robes. After all, forces of The Hand were a drag in Daredevil and Iron Fist, and even with the addition of Sigourney Weaver as the leader, they're pretty dull here, too. The best Marvel Netflix seasons have benefited from larger-than-life bad guys: Vincent D'Onofrio's raging kingpin in Season 1 of Daredevil, and especially David Tennant's icy psycho, Kilgrave, in Jessica Jones. Jones, the best of the Marvel Netflix bunch, offers Ms. Ritter's barbed but compassionate portrayal, and Defenders perks up whenever SHES on screen. In fairness to Mr. Colter, Mr. Cox and Mr. Jones, they have to do a disproportionate amount of the obligatory arguing and explaining. The show also comes alive when Scott Glenn shows up as the nonsense sensei, Stick. There's nothing terribly wrong with Marvel's The Defenders, but there may not be enough right about it to make it worth the time of anyone but the completist. By the end of the year, there are set to be 11 live-action Marvel shows spread across 5 TV networks and streaming services. You can afford to be choosy. Marvel's The Defender streaming Friday on Netflix. A version of this review appears in print on August 18, 2017, on page C1 of the New York edition, with a headline: "Less than the sum of its heroes."